Hi, I'm Paula D'Andrea for Rock Your Life TV, and today my guest is Soleira Green, genius extraordinaire, author, mentor, fantastic coach, amazing, exhilarating being, and she is on a mission to bring the world into their genius, to get 7 million plus geniuses in action to really rock this world. So I'm happy to have her here. She is from the geniuscompany.com, and she has so many things that she's going to bring us today to get into, to talk about rocking that higher vibe. And as a reminder, head over to pauladandrea.com/RYLTV when you get done. Get on the list so that you can get into more of these conversations and be in tune with the people who rock. So, Soleira Green, welcome to Rock Your Life TV. Thank you so much for being here.
Hey, I'm thrilled to be one of the people who rocks.
Well, you totally do. You are definitely have the rock star status of someone who really just, you know, is so poetic in the way that you take in life, and certainly someone who has those high vibe muscles, like really tuned up. I know we had a conversation within the past week about a new term that I've come up with, and that is of being in vibrational shape. And you know, so many people are, you know, used to being in physical shape because that is the form that, you know, most people are in and are comfortable with. But the thing is really to rock that higher vibe, is to be able to be in your vibration, to go back to love, as I like to say, which is the law of vibration, where you have as much of you available on a consistent basis to be able to, like, really thrive in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And for me, like, it's been one of my passions of the last 18 years is moving myself from what would have looked like a fairly almost vulnerable energy state 18 years ago, almost not able to go out the door, walk downtown, you know, that kind of thing, very empathic, to kind of walking full power on these days as a transformative force, an exhilarator of life, with the ability to sustain my own energies brilliantly. I mean, it's been 2 years for me since I've had any kind of drop, any kind of emotional hit, any kind of energy drop at all. So I got it sustainable.
Awesome. I love that. So we can say that you're a person who rocks and who's really in stride with life. Soleira, tell, you know, share that little bit of your journey with you, like when you say when you were in that lower vibe, in that space where, you know, it was challenging to go out, to walk about, and all of that kind of thing. And what was it? What was the transforming moment for you that really put you through the door into a new energy field?
Well, I don't think there was just one moment. I think it was a journey over a few years, but some of it was learning, some of it was evolving the way we work energetically, some of it was infusing myself more and more with my own beingness, some of it was learning to connect with the limitless energy of creation that flows through everything. You know, there were a variety of pieces for me that put it together to where I'm much more sustainable. I would say in the end, that journey really was discovering both not just the power within, because that's one aspect of it. It's being always true to yourself, always aligned to your biggest, greatest self and your bigger work, and being really true to that all the time. But more than that, it was about learning to walk as a collective field, to walk as an influencer of life, as I use the term alivener, not enlivener, alivener, as in you can bring things and people and circumstances alive. And so I've spent literally the last 18 years finding always brand new ways to exhilarate that for myself and then to show others how to live in that as well. So it has been a long-term journey is the answer.
Uh-huh.
Although it doesn't have to be a long-term journey for anybody else today. It was a learning and evolution pathway. And
Yeah.
I think we're there now and I think people can have it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I think it's the there's a couple of things in what you said, and I think definitely that is definitely an individual journey, and sometimes it does take a long time, because there's so much that is from the past that people just like layer over and layer over, and you talked about being emotionally free, and I think that's one of the keys is being emotionally free so that you aren't dragged down by a story, an event, a past emotion that has become so large for you, not you, but in general for people, that's become kind of like that demon, that larger than life type of thing for them, that they can't get out from underneath it. And each time that the reason why it takes so long is to like really, really, really step out of that. What's a quick exercise that that people can like, as you said, be more instantaneous and be able to like step out of those spaces a little bit more quickly?
Yeah, good. So first of all, what you give energy to increases. So if you're going to give energy to the emotional processing of a problem, an issue, a challenge, a trauma, whatever, the more you try and process it, clear it, heal it, release it, the more you get of it because you're putting your energy to it. So I actually believe emotional processing isn't the answer. I think we've had to find a new way, and I think we have. And I think the answer is to emotion as potential, as fuel, as energetic movement forward. So what you do if something like, let's say an emotion comes up, anger, fear, rage, whatever, instead of judging yourself and thinking, oh my God, this is terrible, I shouldn't have this, what's wrong with me, I should be more evolved than this, da, 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 all the thoughts we have about that.
Stuff.
Yeah, so first of all, don't judge yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Second, start to reinterpret it as an energetic influx of energy. So when you're afraid or you're enraged, the energy's just bopping up in you. Well, that's energy. So we interpret it as fear and issue-based and then go to process and get rid of it. But what if instead it's our very smart bodies sending us signals and energy to move forward? So if you actually use the energy, like, why are you so angry? What is it you care so passionately about that it would drive you to this point? If you go underneath the anger and you get what it's pointing you to, then you can use the energy as fuel to move you forward on that path. Same with fear, it's nervousness, it's excitement, it's the next level, it's the next step of you. It's all energy trying to fuel us, and we're trying to get rid of it. So
Yeah. And which then goes against, because you do need some of that, when you start talking about like alivening, being in stride with life, living the life of your dreams, all of those type of things. We need that energy to be able to, to feed the passion. And I think that's the thing is that many times people are getting caught up in a label, and there is a certain judgment of self that people just then start to spiral because of these like, big words that that they've given, and then I think that they then kind of define to themselves that is where things get in the way.
Yeah. Well, I'm one of those people who believes that everything that happens to us is designed to move us forward in life, no matter what it is, no matter how tragic, no matter how awful, whatever. And I'm not saying necessarily. Some people would say, "Well, why did we create that in our life?" That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that there is a greater purpose for everything, and if we see it from that place, it goes smoother, it moves more powerfully, it gives us what it's meant to give us more easily. So you can put yourself in a more gracious pathway with it by simply looking at the circumstance from a bigger perspective. You know how people say, oh, 10 years later they go, oh, best thing that ever happened to me, but I didn't think so at the time.
Well, when they were going through it, it really sucked.
Yeah, that's right. And I get that it really sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But if we could look at it from where we are now, as if it's given us what it was going to give us, then we have some power to move it into its potential that it's offering us. And so that's a huge part, I think, of moving from emotional processing to emotion as fuel and driving our potential forward in life by any circumstance that happens to us.
Gotcha. And so two things I want to ask you is to do, if we could, just like a simple exercise, because there's, I often come back to this in my conversations with guests, is that you find, because it's just is what I deal with, with clients over and over again, they lend themselves so easily to like the big and the negative type of emotions, and then when they get when they do have something joyful that happens, that is happier, that is a more quote positive type of thing, they tend to like fluff over it or move through it really quickly, but they'll just hang on and glom on to all of that other stuff. So so to be able to like really be able to be in the joy of both spaces, because it really is either way. However you decide to, the power is yours of how you decide to label something, because the energy is all you.
Yes, absolutely.
So if you could bring us into a space where we're really able to accept what the energy is and be able to like be okay with it, you know what I mean? Because I think that's the thing that happens for a lot of people. It comes up so big that it takes them, like, they don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
And so what they do with it is they label it as a quote negative thing and give it a pocket, put it in a box of that, and then each time that they could be exhilarating something really magnificent and extraordinary, they're toning it down by giving it that label.
Yeah. Well, let's do an exercise then. Okay, so for anybody who's watching, if you just think of a time when you had either something like fear, rage, anger, whatever it was, and you just kind of not put yourself fully back into it, but just remember what it felt like. And you'll see that there's got kind of energy powering up from inside. That's fear, anger, rage. All of those are energy powering up from inside. So at the time, if what you do is go, okay, this is a good thing. Okay, so the first thing, this is a good thing. This is not a bad thing. And you are not out of control of it. And then you take a breath, and you take the energy. You don't try and get rid of it. You take the energy and you breathe it up and put it in front of you. Because it's the energy of potential. It's the energy of power. It's the energy of passion and movement and your next steps in life. So breathe it up, put it in front of you. Okay, so now you've raised its vibrational frequency from a judgment of a negative thing to its potential. So now it's sitting here as an energetic potential, and now you attune to it and say, what are you for? And you ask, and you just get your sensing of what this is for as a good thing. And then you get your answer. So I'll give everybody just a minute. So ask what it's for, get your answer. Okay. And then, do you want that? Do you want that potential? Well, hopefully everybody's saying, yes, give it to me. In which case, then you kind of step into the energy, say yes to it, and let it infuse through every cell of you. So now instead of something that's powering up from the core, that you feel is like uncontrollably overwhelming, now you're in charge of it, you're infusing it, you're saying yes to it, you're making friends with it, you're taking it into the next step with you, and you become the energy of that potential. And then you just take a minute, you let it settle through you, take a breath, and realize that you now are that. You've got it. So sometimes that anger is the tip of power, or passion coming through. Sometimes fear is the next step in leadership. It's the next big work. It's the next you, etc., etc. Rage. Oh, I love it when I get into a rage. And I don't blast my rage, by the way. I've learned not to blast it out. That's not good stuff. I make friends with it immediately as power. I go, okay, here it comes. It's a whopper. Yes. And you get in relationship with it as a great thing for you. And by doing that, you now are in charge of the flow. And it stops being an overwhelming negative thing for you, and it starts being great energy, infusing you with potential.
I love that. Wow, that was so, there's the nugget, folks. Go back and rewind that and do that, because it is, I love that of being in relationship with it, rather than being afraid of it. It's kind of like, talk about that in a second too. Some of the things that people get afraid of, they don't want to look at, their bills, or, it's that same thing, or their weight, or, any habits that they might have, or even change. They kind of way back here because it's too much. The way that you just express that to get in is really a beautiful way to start getting used to it. Be in relationship with everything. That way, that is what Rocking Your Higher Vibe is all about. So yeah. I would urge you to go back, watch that again. And as I was talking about before about getting in vibrational shape, that is an awesome exercise right there to start doing. Just get comfortable with it. When you feel that slide down, because when you said that, get in touch with one of your negative feelings, I felt everything in my body going to the floor. Everything, including my heart, seriously.
Yeah.
Experience that emotion, and then when you brought it up to exhilarate, it was like boom, and then it just came right back up and out, and it's like it is that easy of taking. It's the awareness factor. Yeah. And I think that is definitely the key, is being in the state of awareness that you'll be able to discern, so that you can feel when you're slipping in or when you're having a moment. And let's face it, we're all going to have moments, no matter how practiced you are, but the key is how quick can you turn it around? How easily can you see the potential? How much can you embrace it, be in relationship with it, so that you can experience the energy rather than the emotion, and get stuck in that? Because I think that's just really what happens. People get sucked into the emotion, and they're bypassing. They're not even seeing the potential of energy in that, because that's all that it is. All that we are is energy. And when I say get in vibrational shape, that means that you're able to embrace all parts of you. Yeah. So really, that's what Rocking Your Life is all about.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's important to keep yourself in good vibrational shape. It's the most important thing. So I start my day in the shower with, at some point in the shower, I kind of just look up, close my eyes, and I just kind of download great energy into me from wherever, the universe, wherever, creation, whatever you want to call it. And I just run it through every cell of me. And that starts my day in a good vibe. And then you were mentioning about bills and fear and all that stuff. So one of the things I do is, if a part of me goes, what's happening with the income? How are we going to pay our bills? If that happens to me anymore, I go, signal, energize abundance. So you do not let yourself get captured by the low vibe thoughts. You get very conscious about it. You get very aware of it. And you choose to up the vibe on everything you do, because, everything, we're so powerful now. I'm not saying we weren't always, because I think we were disconnected at one point. And when you're disconnected, what you do just affects you. It doesn't necessarily affect the whole. But when you're connected, oh my gosh, everything, as you say, Paula, adds to the hum of the world. I love that phrase.
I was thinking of that earlier when you were speaking about that.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you got to be aware that you're adding to the hum of the world. So if you're low, you're bringing the world with you. If you're up, you're taking the world with you. I choose to take the world with me and be an alivener of life, a generator of possibility, of creation, of potential, of, whatever. It could be different for everybody. But I think we have to make a choice, and then we have to make a really good awareness of where our vibrational frequency is at and do something about it when it starts to drop. Don't wait 3 days.
Yeah, and I think that's that's part of the thing is that once someone gets a little bit more comfortable in the space of really embracing the energy of being able to rise with it, I think that's where you're in more ease and grace, obviously. So you're able to go through, and it is those simple little things. Each time that you step more and more into awareness of yourself and of something, and for me, when you're saying add to the hum of the world, I'm saying rock a higher vibe, be in vibrational shape. That is you as a whole person. So it includes your intellect, your physicality, your sociability, your finances. It's your emotional levels. It's your energetic levels. It's your your spirituality. All of those type of things. The more that you're able to really be in stride with them, to know yourself really well, that's where you're going to be, rocking that higher vibe. That's where you are in your law of vibration, which then gives way to the attraction of all the things that want to come into you. Because, as you were saying earlier, when the focus is going down and it's going into all of these lower vibes, all of that is still buzzing around you, but your focus is not on it. And when I say, hey, here I am, I'm alivening you, I'm seeing myself as energy, I'm taking it all in, you're better able to see the potential, and then the possibility happens.
Yeah. Now let me give them another, if anybody's listening, give them another kind of tip to all this.
Sure.
Your life force, or I call it your being, it's the totality of you through all of time and space, you could say. But it's all of you. It's not just who's sitting here, right here in the body personality. It's what the more of you could say that. Life force is energy, and it's the energy of your being. And a lot of the people I've worked with who are struggling energetically, their being isn't present in their life. So sometimes it's partially there. So if I say to people, how much of you is there? They'll say 10%, 30%, 60%, 90%, depending.
And what are some of the reasons that they aren't all there, Soleira? If you could just share maybe a couple of examples, some of the things that you deal with on a regular basis from clients. So people see a likeness in through there. It happens all the time. I've had taken some pretty hard knocks in life, and I've experienced mine where it really took me down for a little bit, and you have to be able to recognize that so that you can come back up. So if you give some examples of that.
Well, first of all, some people are pulled out to do big work, and anybody who's listening who's like that, you know who you are. So they're actually doing something purposeful, but it's having a really hard effect on their physicality. Because without the life force, there's nothing giving you energy, giving you life. So what you want to do is call yourself more present, and then try to be more conscious of your greater work. Because if you can be more conscious of your greater work, even if it's out there, you could do it from here, out there. Or know that you're not there and do it, for a while, and then make sure you come back. Those are some of the things. That's one instance. Another instance is that it could be a death rebirth scenario. So some people's life force actually goes, and they're going through a transformation. And what happens is after they go through the transformation, there's nobody home. There's nothing there giving you life.
So the building.
Yeah, that's right. And then the new you, which could be an enhanced version of who you were before, or it could be a brand new version of you, comes back in as life force energy, and you are transformed into a greater level of yourself. Now, for some people, that happens in a couple hours. For others, it happens in over years because they're not aware that's what's happened to their energy. I do coach a lot of those people, and as soon as I say, oh, death, rebirth, whammo, the new comes in. It's not being aware, and then we try and find solutions that are more medically based or, you know, what is emotionally issue based or whatever, but they're not. They're not any of those. It's just death rebirth going on, in which case there's no vitality, there's no energy, there's no life force present. And so what you do is you call the new present and let it fill you up head to toe, and then you have more of yourself. So that would be a second scenario where that would happen. A third one might be you take a big knock. Maybe someone you love has died and you've gone with them for a bit, or you've just taken a knock and you've just gone out, or even if as simple as a lot of people say, I don't want to be here anymore. The moment you say that, your being goes, okay, bang, out it goes.
Yeah.
And now you're left.
Or they're compounding that too with something like, food overload, substance abuses, all that kind of thing to kind of, feed into that logic of I don't want to be here anymore. So it's kind of, I think, what you're this second case is kind of like the walking wounded kind of a thing where someone has a physical presence but is vacated.
Yeah, the term I would use is you're walking through the fires of transformation. That's how I would say that. And as soon as you know,
because you just buzzed out for just a second.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So the term I would use for that is you're walking through the fires of transformation. And when you know that's what you're doing and it looks like no energy, then you can relax into the process and be a part of calling your newness more present and putting grace to the pathway of transformation. So as soon as you're aware, it really helps. So those are some of the things that help bring your being more present. A simple exercise at the beginning of every day would go, I'm here, I love life, take a breath, call yourself really present, even look out the window at a tree, anything like that will help. Just call yourself into your life, and loving life really helps if you can do that.
Yeah, and I think that's like, I love that because it's so important these days. I mean, in this day and age with technology and everything like that, and it's kind of like, way back in time where there wasn't any of that, where people were in a different connection, actually even with the earth, where they walked a lot, where they were out in nature, that they were out with living things more often, whereas now you have people that are so much more isolated, at a desk, on a computer, on their phone, tablet, all of this kind of stuff, and like that's the energy feed, and it's kind of like I love the global aspect of everything, like the internet and everything like that, where you're able to connect, like you're in the UK. So I mean, how beautiful is this that we're able to have this conversation? That's a great aspect of it, but the drawback is you have to go in, you have to kind of unplug a little bit, and so that you are able to rock that higher vibe, to be in the home of the world, to all that type of thing, to be able to be alive and really get solid with yourself, to be in stride with life. So
well, I have to laugh because I'm one of those people who sits at a computer all day, every day. And I hardly even go out the door.
What I'm saying is that it's just become like a thing, so it's really important. You can get lost in that. I mean, I know I don't because I got to an awareness level of it, but I know the days where I was just sort of like that was where my timelessness was. Sitting down, and not that I wasn't creating and all of that other kind of stuff, but I was missing the interaction of myself to other things other than a computer. And that is really to be able to, get yourself into other areas as well.
But here's the thing. I mean, for me, I can sit at a desk all day, but I love it. I love what I do. So I can find that exhilaration plugged in to the net. I think whatever we choose, if we can love it, so be it nature, be it computers, be it technology, be it walking, be it, whatever, if we can love it, it works for us energetically. So
Okay, and I get what you're saying too. So I think my point was too is that it can be a distraction for
for
some
some
people.
people it can be.
Yeah. So I think that the examples that you've given to be able to like really welcome life, to get in tune, to line yourself up at the beginning of each day is really really important, especially if you are in the technology world. So
yeah. Well, now let me give you the next piece, which would be limitless energy.
Okay.
Okay, let's talk about limitless energy.
Okay, fantastic.
Okay, so if you look at all the pictures that we see of the universe and the cosmos, right? And you see galaxies colliding and stars exploding and new stars being born, and I mean, it's amazing what's going on out there. Well, there is so much energy in the cosmos that it would take your breath away. So what I do is I plug in to the limitless energy of creation that's pulsing and thriving everywhere, and I let that be the energy which sources me. So I don't run on personal energy anymore. Like personal energy you get from sleep and eating and sunlight or whatever. And I find that people who run just on personal energy, they tend to run out. So, you're training a course or you're doing something or you're traveling somewhere, and by the end of the day you're exhausted because you used up all your personal energy. Whereas if you plug into limitless energy, it's limitless. So you are always running great energy. You don't run out. So I can get on a plane and go to Australia and get off the plane, have a night's sleep, get up, do 2 weeks of courses and coaching, and get on the plane and come home and be fine. Because I'm running on limitless energy. So I know you're going to say, give us an exercise, right?
Yeah, yep, you got it. Take us to that place. So it's kind of like everybody make like a USB port. You can kind of like see that, or like a plug, so that you can plug in anytime into this. And I love the idea of that too, because it's so much greater and it's so much bigger than what you could be just on your own. I mean, people excel in different ways, but when you explode yourself into a limitless supply, that's definitely phenomenal. So take it away.
All right, so take a deep breath. Feel your energy expand. If you're watching this, you may want to close your eyes and just feel yourself expand and get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. But you're getting bigger from the center of you. You're not going away from you. You're expanding your energy out. And you realize that at some point you're kind of plugging into life everywhere. All of life, the beauty of it, the wonders of it, the awe of it. If you just get that sense of the awe and wonder of life pulsing, thriving, creating everywhere. If you're just going to breathe that wonderful energy in and through you and let it run through every cell of you. And then what you want to do is you want to find your place to plug into the limitless life source energy. It might be deep within you, it might be way out there, it might be somewhere else. Whatever is right for you, plug in and make what I would suggest a permanent connection to limitless life source energy. And let it feed you, let it nurture you, let it grow you, let it infuse you with wonders and greater things. And you'll realize you can't just hold that in your body. You've got to let it flow into your energy field. So you start to get this kind of vibrant, cushy field of energy all around you. You might start to feel a buzz in your hands and a lovely feel in the air around you. It's like you're creating a space of vibrancy, of vitality, of well-being. It's very dynamic and creative. And then take a breath and let that just slide nicely and graciously into place for you. Super. And, you know, for anybody that's new for them, they might want to just refresh that every morning while they're doing the other exercises I mentioned until it becomes an automatic thing for them. For me, it is automatic. It just runs all the time. It never stops.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that earlier too, because it's probably like, you know, we could compare. Let's say you're an energetic athlete, so you're definitely someone who is in really great vibrational shape because you have done it, because you're practicing it, and I think that is the thing for anyone. You know, when you aren't good at something. Right away, it's a little bit of practice. Realize that you have it innately, that it may be just an underutilized as well as under-exercised aspect of you that you haven't thought of yourself before as an energy field. That maybe some of these concepts might be a little bit newer for you, but you know, anything that you're gonna, you know, anytime that you really look at yourself, realize that, you know, if we want to get like metaphysical for a second, and realize that, you know, the mass that is around us, you know, atoms, neutrons, we actually have oxygen within us, we have nitrogen within us, you know, that this is, you know, what we're made up of. And as much as you may be like really used to just being in a physical aspect of yourself, start welcoming the amazing, amazing energetics of you, because that is like phenomenal. And as you start to realize what, you know, your vibration is, to like really, really know yourself, love yourself deeply, completely. Is realize the essence of you. That is rocking your higher vibe. And when you become more of that, it really, your other dimensions become even greater. Your intellect, your physicality, your emotional levels, your spirituality, your social, what you come in contact with, because you're just making yourself more and more available.
Beautifully said, yeah. And, you know, a lot of people think, oh, I need to love myself first, and then I'll get there. And I would suggest get your energy vibe set, and you'll fall in love with yourself.
It is very true, and I find that over and over again as I work with more and more people, Soleira, is that when they get that little tweak of that, automatically, it's like, you know, when I'm working with somebody who has like a big transformation, shift, whatever it is that you like to call it, but they have that big aha of what they've been holding on to, of where their energy has been trapped, and when they release it, it's like, wow, it's huge. It's as if they feel like they lost 10 pounds automatically. It's as if this huge weight, as if they've just opened up, their body has just expanded. And that is really what, you know, what happens. You become more. And your energy does expand within you and reaches out of you, and you're really loosening up so much in your mind, in your heart, in your body, all of that. Your self-care will go through the roof because you're just being who you naturally, you know, are. It's not like you have to pay a lot of attention to. That becomes the new automatic pilot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Rocking a higher vibe.
Yeah, I love what you've brought for us today, Soleira. I would love to have you back at sometime in the near future to get into another discussion, and I think that we hit it today. You just provided. Thank you for you know, giving the examples of really bringing people into the space so that they can, you know, watch it over again and be able to do it over and over and again. This is just another way to exercise, you know, get in tune with yourself and just, you know, keep bringing yourself up every day. And it's exactly what an athlete does. They're really in tune with themselves. They feel, talk about, let's say, someone who's a, you know, a world-class runner, sprinter, swimmer, any of those type of things, they are so in tune with themselves energetically, and they're just a body in motion. That's exactly what it becomes. So we want you to be a body in motion out there rocking your heart vibe. So
Yay.
yeah, so I say thank you very much to my guest today, Soleira Green of thegeniuscompany.com. Be in touch with her if you have more questions on any of this. She has wonderful videos, courses, information of how you can get more and more into your energy field very, very easily and very quickly.
Paula,
So,
can I just say it's thegeniuscompany.co.
oh,
Just so people know.
.co. I'm so sorry.
.co. Yep.
Yeah.
Or they can find me at soleiragreen.com as well. SOLEIRA, green like the color.com.
Yeah, I love that. Green like the color. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for
Brilliant.
stand corrected. Thank you so much, Soleira. This is Paula D'Andrea for Rock Your Life TV. Again, head on over to pauladandrea.com/RYLTV. Get a free gift, get on the list, and join us on a weekly basis to rock that higher vibe. Thank you so much for watching.